The First Descendant is a new looter boob shooter published and developed by Nexon. Now, Nexon single-handedly proven that making a game showcasing tits and ass and having more microtransactions than OnlyFans is certainly not how to garner raving reviews. Hello, this is Jackafee, and this is my repulsing review of The First Descendant. High hopes, zero expectations. To summarize the game in one sentence, The First Descendant is as if Warframe and Destiny 2 made love waifu style and had a janky, disappointing child. The game has you controlling Warframes, I mean Descendants, each with their own moveset and skills. You go through a diverse but uninspiring set of maps, taking trivial missions along the way, shooting endless brain-dead reskin mobs in order to get gear, mods, and materials that is used to make the damage numbers go larger. It really is that simple. And simple is sometimes good, and that's exactly what this review will be. Overall, the gameplay is pretty solid. The shooting feels impactful, the visual feedback is great, the sound design just helps to enhance it even further. But honestly, I couldn't help but feel just like a genericness slapped all over this, like some carnival-themed park. It's as if they just opened Unreal Engine 5 and chose the third-person template, which is free and built for them, and then just slapped on their own assets. Seriously, look at the template. The characters' movements feel a little bit touch-blocky, albeit they are responsive. But overall, because the game largely takes its influences and borrows its mechanics from Destiny 2 and Warframe, from a gameplay perspective, it's good. Now, Unreal 5 is certainly no stranger in making games look fucking good, but no matter how pretty the game looked, its maps and its surrounding areas just fell flat, and I'm not just talking from a physical standpoint. It just seemed like a lot of dead, empty space, and the only time that it would seem alive is when yourself or players would activate these missions around the map. In which case, all that's really expected is a wave of enemies at that point. But I mean, that's the point of the game. You start missions, you run in, you kill shit, you get gear, and you pop out. Doesn't really need to be more than that, I guess. Honestly, it's just better to list why the game is similar to Destiny 2 and Warframe than pretend it offers anything really unique. And well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And, you know, copying this games is not entirely bad, and because there is a large cult following, but it just leaves little reasoning or incentives to keep playing. You'll have fun, for sure, with your friends for a brief amount of time, but unless you're really involved in these types of games, you'll just move on. And well, because the game is technically free, there really isn't any risk. Other than just wasting your own time, I guess. Now, I know I'm coming off sarcastic and negative as hell, and I don't mean to completely bash the game. It has its merits. I had fun for what it was. I just got bored easily and moved on. If you enjoyed Warframe and Destiny, you can come to expect similar mechanics here. You have hero-based characters with their own moveset and abilities that use mana and energy. There's a universal double jump and rip line grappling hook, character switching, and ultimate prime counterparts. Now, these are technically obtainable for free, which I think should be an industry standard. There's open world missions, 8 open world zones to be exact, in different biomes, open zone activities and patrols, open zone fast travel, instance dungeon or void intercepts. Now, void intercepts did feel original. It has you face these giant colossi machines, each with their own weak point, and you can even climb on them pseudo Monster Hunter World style. I found that to be relatively original and a great balance of challenge and fun. The game does what it says and provides a simulated firing range. You have armor and modules and weapon loadouts. You have nearly identical weapon archetypes like the scout rifle or hand cannon or shotgun. You have exotic weapons and unique randomized perks. You have weapon upgrades and modding card systems, or you can just dissolve them for upgraded resources. You have different weapon ammo types and ammo scarcity. You have a relic loot system or gear level infusion. There is elemental and physical weaknesses. There's long crafting times. There's subparts used to craft new characters. There's a mastery rank or weapon proficiency for player progression. Overall, I think you get the fucking picture. The games are awfully similar. So if you're into looter boob shooters that offer simulated fucking firing ranges and random anomalous loot drops, then the game's for you. Now, some people seem to be complaining about the terms of service that pops up immediately when you start the game regarding their data collection policy. Now, it's surprising to see that gamers are now complaining about the terms of service they sign up for as if they've never, ever agreed to some shit they didn't read. Now, cast the first stone. Who's to say we haven't blindly accepted some terms and service policy out there? I'm pretty sure at this point some third-party Chinese company already knows my own porn search history, and well, you're free to look. I'm already traumatized. Now, Nexon is a company who was actually sued in the past for $9 million because they were caught making RNG drops to 0%, thereby forcing consumers into their egregiously overpriced microtransactions. They learned their lesson though, didn't they? Because the First Descendant actually has material drop rates fall between 1 to 3%, so the game can be grindy for those that don't like grindy games. So yes, the developer already has a history of overpriced and predatory microtransactions. There is certainly anti-consumer behavior being placed here with how they price things. For example, if you want to buy a Descendant, the currency falls to, let's say, 300 and 600, but the bundles that you pay for fall short of that to 250 or 520. Overall, there's a general lack of polish in terms of its translation, its grammatical errors, its animations, its performance issues. It goes on. There's poor movement options compared to Warframe. The combat system is not fleshed out at all, you know, with clearly lacking mechanics. You can't even follow up with the melee combo. You can't crouch. You can't slide. You know, I don't know if mods will fix this, but who knows, right? And there's also no stealth for anyone that's into that type of shit. You little pussies. There's a relatively boring and uninspiring story. The boss encounters are extremely dull, utilizing the same 3 balls mechanics. There's absolutely nothing in terms of difficulty here the moment you start. The AI is dumb as fuck. They just either stand there or run at you blatantly wanting to die. The only way the game realistically gets harder is simply Nexon spawning 5 more additional enemies, or a boss with 10 fucking shields, or enemies with more health. All the zones are relatively, again, quite flat and boring through and through. There's some diversity in their biomes, but again, it just felt reasonably flat and lifeless. So overall verdict, the game is heavily monetized and yes, handed by a greedy publisher with shady practices. But it's a good change of scenery if you are already into games like Destiny 2 and Warframe. It's a free game, so sure, try it out. Just don't spend time investing in it. Like dumping over $100 in the Ultimate Bunny Bundle. Don't think I can't see you, you little perv. Overall, the First Descendant has a lot of potential as a mix between the two popular looter shooters, Warframe and Destiny. The gameplay loop is relatively fun. The graphics are decent. However, they should certainly tone down on the microtransactions, reduce some of the grind, and introduce more free, customized options. And maybe perhaps add a little bit more variety in terms of their missions, enemies, and bosses. I guess the best thing I can praise the game for doing is that it introduced me to the genre, because I never really played Destiny or Warframe. So if those games set the bar for what the industry has to offer, then I'm super excited to jump into them. And if the First Descendant just simply acts like a catalyst for bringing newbies into the genre, well then the future is bright, and that's only a good thing. That's it, jack-offs!